Hi, I'm Rebecca Klein-Toy, the Clinical Director of our Psychiatric Residential Programming here at KidsTLC. And I'm with...
Hi, I'm Dr. John LaFoon. I'm the Vice President of Clinical and Operational Innovation here at KidsTLC. We're here today to talk about the mental health aspects and anxiety around all the decisions that we're facing right now with the start of school coming up in August. With the health crisis that we're in and the school closure back in March, everyone is faced with new challenges with making decisions about what school environment they want their kids to be in and how that might impact their family and everything else moving forward. So knowing all that, how do we help families manage and deal with the anxiety around those choices that they're making around school?
Absolutely. I think the first thing I want everyone to remember is to look at anxiety, right? Anxiety is something that we deal with every day on all sorts of decisions. And anxiety is really driven by when there are things outside of our control and fear of the unknown. And this time, more than perhaps any other time in our lifetime, is definitely full of those two things. And then we mix in our precious children and decisions that need to be made for them. And it makes this the perfect storm for anxiety. So we all, I think, are feeling more anxious than we might normally feel. And it's important to remember that this is the new normal, really, and that's okay. So we need to give ourselves a little bit of grace about the anxiety that we're feeling and that we're trying to manage this in a new way.
I think your point about this being new anxiety is so important because I think the other way to help ease everyone's anxiety is to recognize that we make anxiety-driven decisions all the time. And a lot of them are centered around safety too. I think of all the decisions I've made as a parent, whether or not to let my child go to this house or to that house when she's old enough to get in a car and drive by herself. I still have anxiety every time she goes to a gas station by herself to get her own gas.
Yeah.
It's those decisions that we deal with from day to day, but we manage that anxiety in a much more comfortable way because it's a process that we're used to, and this is not a process we're
not
used
at all.
to.
So John, keeping all those things in mind, how do we get to that place where we can start to make some peace with the anxiety that we're feeling? How do we get to the place where maybe that anxiety goes away or we feel like we've made the right decision?
Well, I think the important part of getting to that point is recognizing that the anxiety won't completely go away. And getting ourselves comfortable with the fact that there's always a little bit of anxiety. It's good for us, right? Anxiety is what keeps us alive and keeps us safe. And so it's not that it ever goes away. I think we have to get comfortable and be thoughtful about our decisions. We have to think through all the different consequences and sacrifices that come with whatever decision that we make. And then we have to be okay and know that whatever decision you make is the right decision. It's the right decision for your family, or it's the right decision for your child. And the only person who can make that right decision is you.
Right. That piece that you said about sacrifice, these decisions that we have in front of us, none of them are going to feel good because there's something being sacrificed in each one. When we're trying to focus on safety, when we're trying to focus on basic needs, the social interaction is pulled aside. And to have that kind of mindset that there is going to be a sacrifice, and that doesn't mean it's the wrong decision, I think can be a very forgiving mindset for all of us as we move forward in this.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when you know what those sacrifices are, you can then make plans to try to buffer them and make that be less impactful as you possibly can, which then makes it hard to have discussions and talk about that with your children, because many of us have children who might want or think a different plan than what we want for them. So from a parent's perspective, how do we have those conversations in a healthy way with our families and our children?
The first thing to do in those conversations is to make sure that we are modeling how we want our kids to feel and think about this. So we obviously want our kids to feel good as possible about the decision. We want them to feel calm and as safe as possible. So we have to make sure that we are presenting that in a calm way. And that can be with hard facts. That doesn't have to be sugarcoating it or ignoring those difficult things, but just that we stay calm and that we instill hope that there are things that we're doing, there are plans, there are safety measures that help keep everything as positive and as healthy as possible.
When we keep in mind that our children are watching us and how we communicate with them, I think we also need to remember that our children are learning and watching our conversations with other people as well.
Yes.
They watch how we converse with our friends and with our neighbors and with our school personnel, and it's important that they see that same calm, sense of hopefulness in all those conversations, and being accepting of
Right.
each other's decisions, because a lot of us are going to make different decisions. And I think it's also important for us all to remember that everything is new. It's new decisions for parents, new decisions for the schools. The children are going to be faced with new situations and come home from those new situations with probably a lot of questions. And I think being able to communicate in a hopeful way, in a calm way, because again, this will pass.
Yes.
Things will get back to normal at some point, and we need to make sure we send that message of hope to our children.
And that's the message, combining these two pieces of it's okay. In any parenting thing, it's okay to tell your child, this is hard. It's okay to say, I don't know. And then this will pass, and it's going to be okay. Those two things together, I think, make a really beautiful message for our children.
Now, if things do get too hard, and if the challenges do feel uncomfortable, that's what places like KidsTLC are here for, and you can always reach out to us for help, for guidance, for support. We definitely want to be here for our community as we help everybody through these challenging times and transitions.